Hello students, in last class I have told you about the definition of reproduction and significance of reproduction. Today you all will be learning about the first type of reproduction, that is vegetative propagation. It is a type of reproduction which is seen in the plants. In this what happens, the plant parts, whatever roots, stem, leaf will be there, no? From that we obtain new plants. As said earlier, vegetative means these are the growing parts of the plant. It may be roots, stem and leaf, as well as the flower, that leaf buds. On the leaf surface some buds will be originated on their margin. So from those also the new plants are formed. And in this vegetative propagation, it is a type of asexual reproduction. In that there is no reproductive structures are not involved. Here only the plant parts are involved for the reproduction process. In this process what happens, the whatever plant parts will be there, after some time they will get detached from the plant naturally, and they will get mixed into the soil and they will form a new plant of a same species. And in this type vegetative propagation there are two types. One is natural vegetative propagation and another one is artificial vegetative propagation. In this natural vegetative propagation what happens, it takes place naturally. In that the plant parts will get separated from the parent plant naturally due to movement of wind. They will fall off from the plant and they get mixed into the soil, and they will give rise to the same type of a plant from which they get detached, and they will grow as a new plant. So in this natural vegetative propagation, in this plant parts they get separated, detachment, they get separated from the parent plant. In this there are three types or three examples are there. For example, vegetative propagation by leaves. In this what happens, it is seen in a bryophyllum plant. In this plant the leaf of the plant will be having some kind of a leaf buds over the leaf surface at the margin. These leaf buds will fall off along with the leaf and they will get mixed into the soil, and after that these buds will form a new plant. This is a type of a natural vegetative propagation seen in a bryophyllum plant, and it takes place by the vegetative parts, leaves. So it is also called as vegetative propagation by leaves. Understood? Okay. Next, second one is vegetative propagation by stem. It is also a natural method of vegetative propagation in which the plant parts like stem will get separated from the parent plant, and it will grow as a new plant of the same species. It is seen in a potato, onion and ginger. In that the different parts of these vegetables, they will give rise to a new plant. For example, in potato, you have seen potato. On that surface of the potato there will be like eyes-like structures over, means there will be small dots. From that eyes a new plant will be formed like this. From this part a small stem-like structures will be formed, and these are nothing but a new saplings, means a new plant of a potato, means potato plant. It will grow as a new plant from these parts, from the eyes of the potato. Similarly, onion, you have seen already. Onion will be having like these structures, scaly leaves it will be having, and from this part of the onion small stem like structures will be formed. So those are nothing but a new plant of the onion. So from this stem part of the new plant will be originated. So this type of natural vegetative propagation we call as a vegetative propagation by stem. Understood? Okay. Next, the third one. It is a third type of a natural vegetative propagation. In this what happens, the new plants will be formed by the roots, from the roots of the sweet potato. It is seen in the mainly sweet potato. Like this small root-like structures will be formed. From these roots new plant will be formed. Understood? These are the natural vegetative propagation methods. Natural vegetative propagation means in this what happens? The new plants will be formed by the help of plant parts by making use of their vegetative parts. Either it may be leaf, stem or a root. Understood? This is the first type of vegetative propagation, that is natural vegetative propagation. Next we will move on to artificial vegetative propagation. In this artificial, as the name only suggests, artificial means the plant parts are taken up by the they are removed from the parent plant and they are allowed to grow in any nutrient medium, or they are grown in a soil by separating them from the parent plant. And as the name only, artificial means artificially we are taking out the plant parts and we are growing in some other nutrient solution medium. Once the plant is grown, once that new plant is formed, that is separated from the nutrient medium and it is grown into a new plant and it is put in a soil. So like this, in this method what happens? It is another type of a vegetative propagation only. Vegetative propagation only. In this what happens? Plants part are taken and they are allowed to grow in a separate solution, or in a separately they are grown in a soil or any kind of a medium, and after that a new plant of the same species is obtained. It is a grown natural. It is not naturally occurring, but this is naturally occurring. It takes place naturally. There is no need of any manual help. But this, it does not take place naturally. We have to cut down the plant part and we have to grow in any other medium. Clear? Definition is clear, na? Artificial vegetative propagation means it is a method of growing a new plant from the plant parts by separating them from the parent plant. Clear? In this there are 4 types again. Depending on how the plants are grown, depending on that, artificial vegetative propagation is further divided into 4 types. What are those 4 types? First one is cutting, second one is layering, third one is grafting, fourth one is tissue culture. These are the 4 types. Now let us see about what is this cutting. Cutting means it is a first type of vegetative propagation, which is artificial type of vegetative propagation. In that what happens? The plant parts, it may be stem or a root. It is cutted from the parent plant and it is put in a soil, and from that new plant of the same variety of the parent plant is obtained. Okay, understood? It is seen in plants like rose, cactus, sugarcane and potato. So it is artificially we are obtaining these variety of plants by cutting the parent plant parts. It may be stem or root. Understood? Cutting means it is from the parent plant, vegetative parts are removed separately and they are taken out and they are allowed to mix in a soil, and from that vegetative part new plant is originated. It is obtained. Okay. Next, second one is layering. Layering means it is another type of artificial vegetative propagation. In this what happens? This is one plant, for example. From this plant, one branch is selected, and we will take out a branch from the plant, and we will make it to. We will put that branch. We will pull and add in a soil. Okay. This is a branch of a plant, and we will pull it and we will allow to get mixed in a soil, and we will close the ground. After some days, what happens? The branch of the plant, it will slowly develop small roots and a stem part. So this is layering. Means from the parent plant we will select the branch and we will make it to grow in soil. It is pulled. Plant branch is pulled and it is put in a soil, and after some days what happens? It will develop a small stem and roots. And once the stem and roots are developed from this branch, this is getting separated. We will separate it from the parent plant, and this will grow as a new plant, and this is a parent plant. Understood? This is a layer of one plant only, and it is seen in a pomegranate plant. We will select one branch of a plant and we will pull it and we will add in a soil. Okay. After adding, what happens? After some days, it will start to develop. It will start to grow. Cell division takes place in that. And after that, it will develop roots and stem. From this, what happens? A new plant is formed. Once these roots and stem is formed, we will separate, we will cut it. And this will grow as a new plant, and this is an old plant. It is seen in pomegranate. Clear? This is the second method of artificial vegetative propagation, that is layering. Clear? Huh? Next, third type, grafting. Grafting means it is another method of artificial vegetative propagation. What happens means, in this we will select two plants of a same species. For example, it is seen in a mango, apple and lemon. We will select any one of the plant. For example, if you take a mango plant, which in the mango only there are different varieties of fruits are formed. Fruits are available, no? So we will select the plant which is having two different characters. For example, one mango, it is very sweet in taste, and another mango plant is, it will produce more amount of mangoes. So when we mix these the two different plants, one which will yield more amount of mangoes and one plant which will produce more sweet mangoes. Okay, sweet is one of the character, sweet nature, and sweet nature of mangoes. Another one is more amount of mangoes. So when we select these two different plants of two different characters, and we have to select the stem part of those plant, and we will cut this plant. First plant, it is called as stalk, and we will cut it in this fashion. Okay. Another plant of a mango only, which will produce sweet mangoes. So that plant is selected and it is cut in this fashion. And these two stems of those plants, these are the stems of two different plants. Okay. And when we select those plant stems, we will cut it in this fashion, and we will tie these stems. We will tie this, and we will put it in soil. After some days, what happens? These two stems will get mixed. They will grow. These cells present in this stem will divide, and this stem in these cells of this stem will divide, and they both will grow together. And what they produce? They will form a plant which will yield more amount of mangoes, which are having a sweet in taste. So like this, in this grafting, what happens? We will select the two different plants of two different characters belonging to same species, same mango producing plants only. So from this we obtain a new variety of plant which is having the mixture of those two plants characters. Understood? Clear? It is seen in mango, apple as well as lemon. This technique of growing the plants artificially we call as a grafting. Next, second plant we will call as scion, and first plant we call as stalk. Understood? Next, fourth type of artificial vegetative propagation is tissue culture. In this, what happens? Tissue, as the name only, we will select the tissues of a plant. It may be a stem or it may be root or leaf. So those tissues are allowed to grow in a nutrient medium separately in this solution, nutrient solution which is having all the nutrients essential for those tissues to grow. And once this is a nutrient solution, and we will add this tissue in this. Okay. After some days, what happens? This tissue will form a small sampling of a plant. It will slowly grow. Cell division takes place in that. Cells of these tissues will grow and it will divide, and it will form a small stem, leaf as well as a root in the nutrient solution only. And after some days, we will separate that sampling from the nutrient solution. It will be like this. Okay, root, stem and leaf. So this sapling is again allowed to grow in a soil. Like this, from the tissues we obtain a new plant, which is similar to the plant which we have selected the tissues. So like this, from tissue culture means growing the tissues in a nutrient solution medium that will produce a new plant. So this technique is also called as micro propagation. In that group of cells which we call as tissues, they are allowed to grow in a nutrient solution, and once it is grown, in that cell division takes place in these tissues, and the cells of the tissues will divide and produce a stem, roots as well as leaf. Once it is formed, a small sapling is formed from that tissue, and that sapling is separated from the nutrient solution and it is taken out from the nutrient solution and it is added in, put it in a soil, and after that we will obtain a plant, a new plant. So this technique of growing from the tissues a new plant is called as tissue culture or micro propagation, and it is seen in plants like orchids. Clear? These are the 4 types of artificial vegetative propagation.